You're tuned to WKCR 89.9 FM New York. It's the Musician Show. My name is David Ellenbogen, and we have some great musicians here joining us in the studio. Right before the track, which is from Brandon Terzik's Xalam project, they treated us to a live performance, and that was Chris Mees, who was playing bass, Matt Kilmer on percussion, Brandon Terzik as well on the oud and compositions, and Matt Dario on sax, and then Luke Notary on percussion on the other set. So first of all, that was a great performance. That was killing. That was really beautiful.
Thanks for having us, Dave.
Anytime. That was really nice. And during the break, we were talking about a musician who couldn't make it to this show. But that's John Shannon,
Mr. Birthday Boy, yeah.
Oh, it's his birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, happy birthday.
He's on tour somewhere.
Okay. And, you guys were saying something really interesting about his approach and his practice schedule.
Yeah, he got to drop out of high school and practice guitar.
Well, he did something right.
His
he did
mom
a lot of
do
things
that,
right.
I guess. So.
Yeah. And he's a very unique musician, right, as a guitarist.
He's my favorite guitar player.
I've heard that from other great guitarists. Yeah. What kind of sets him apart from the others?
His lyricism. For me, it's his lyricism and his intention, the spirit behind what he's playing, which I think is the most important thing.
Right. Yeah, he's got his own sound. It's really amazing. And even on that track, like the way he began the solo, it almost sounded like reverse guitar or something like that. At least, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the Xalam project. What would you say are the influences that come into the sound?
I guess the easy answer to that would be it's everything that we love, above all else. So there's nothing really calculated as far as trying to put together a certain combination of influences or styles. It's more of just what everyone loves individually. So, everybody in the group has a distinct voice and distinct taste and a distinct background. And then it all just converged. I mean, me personally, a lot of my inspiration is coming from the Mandinka, West African and North African, and then the Arabic stuff is really what's on my plate.
But that's not your ethnic background.
No, I'm from Ohio. The whole band is like Matt's from Pittsburgh, Dario's from Indiana, John's from Pittsburgh.
All right.
Peter's from Bulgaria. He's on the album.
It's that Midwestern sound. That's what it was.
Yeah,
that's how you should brand the band. A Midwestern.
Yeah, Midwest, Mideast.
It's a territory band. Yeah. Cool, man. And Matt, you just had an album that came out and it's doing pretty well, right?
Yeah, with the great singer Hale. It's called The Mast, and it's as far as the music goes with Xalam project. It's very percussive driven, a lot of interesting rhythms. Also, kind of drawing from influences of everything we got growing up in, in my case, Pittsburgh. A lot of jazz, but also a lot of world music too. Into a lot of Moroccan music. And just kind of putting it in the pot. And, from living in New York, you hear so many great musicians. It's impossible to quantify the influence that everyone has on you, in your songwriting. But it's sort of just a really great, energetic sound, that's happening now.
And there's a kind of a mysterious sound that I've heard a lot, and I finally learned what it was today, which is you get those shells that you wrap around your right leg.
The shells.
Yeah, they have a sound, huh?
Yeah. To quote the famous Rich Stein, who plays percussion on the album too, he always says, "I'll have the ocean drum with a side of bells." It's a good combo. The credit for that. A lot of people put bells, but the specific combo of drums that we're playing here with, taking a djembe, an African djembe, taking Middle Eastern frame drums and using more or less an Indian finger style on them, that kind of goes to Jamie Haddad, who's a great percussionist, plays with Paul Simon, and was my teacher. But he's kind of the originator of that style of drumming, and it's sort of flourished now, and there's a whole crew of guys, especially in New York, that are doing that.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. He's not into metronomes. I read somewhere. I read some interview with him. He's like against metronomes.
Jamie?
Yeah.
It's possible. I've never seen him play along with the metronome.
Yeah.
But I think he's all about getting your inner pulse strong, not
Right.
relying on a metronome, relying on yourself,
Mhm.
and knowing that you're in time. You know, there's a difference between being able to play along with the metronome in time and then knowing that you're playing in time and feeling the space in between the notes when you're doing it live.
All right. Deep words.
Yeah, well, to kind of take off where with what Matt was saying about
Yeah.
combining, like taking a African frame drum, playing with Indian technique, and doing this. And I think that's what's really happening now. Is, for example, I'm playing the oud, which is, known as a Middle Eastern or Arabic instrument, and it's actually quite accessible as far as using it in an African way, using some kora and some ngoni
Mm-hmm.
type of left-hand ornaments. So a lot of what I do is I play the oud, and I'll use like different ornamentation from different string instruments that you might not necessarily do that normally
Right.
on the oud. So it's kind of meshing. We have tunes where we have like a Arabic maqam will be the tonal center, and then we're doing like a North African Berber 6/8, and then you've got this atmospheric kind of guitar on top
Mhm.
of it, and jazz improvisation, and it all kind of finds a way to work.
Speaking of maqams, I don't know if you knew this, but Nagar Buban, our other guest, who's going to come join us later, she actually has a PhD in, I think it's Middle Eastern, Persian music theory.
Wow.
So she's the one, I can't wait to hear
That's
what she has to say
impressive.
about
But
maqams.
we're going to have a great conversation.
Yeah, I'm really
That'd
excited
be great,
about
yeah.
that. And just wanted to say hi to Matt here. So you brought you had the bamboo flutes as well, or was that
I play some
transfer?
bamboo flutes, but that flute I was playing in there is a wooden flute. It's called a kaval
Okay.
from Bulgaria. It's essentially a ney, like a ney. The end blown. It's an end blown flute from the ney family. And the neys are more around North Africa and Syria and Egypt.
Mhm.
And but this is a slightly westernized version of the ney. It's equal temperament. It's not really on the maqam system.
Right.
It's chromatic, actually. It's an interesting instrument. So it's from Bulgarian, which is really a crossroads between East and West. It's reflected in the music and the culture and style a lot, because it's a crossroads. So they kind of they have Middle Eastern Oriental sounds there, yet at least in recent history is tempered tuning for the most part.
Awesome. Well, it was whatever it was beautiful. It sounded
Thanks.
great. Yeah.
But also, it's similar to what they were talking about. I must say that because I've studied the traditional technique on that instrument, which is related to the North African sounds, but then I'm interested in transferring some of the techniques from that instrument to saxophone and clarinet, which is what's done over there. So that idea of learning some traditional style and then having it make sense to transfer it to another instrument, like Matt was saying, they're doing Indian tabla finger technique
Right.
on a Middle Eastern frame drum, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So I guess we're all similar in that sense in the group.
Yeah, I mean, everything you guys are saying, it makes me feel like we're kind of in exciting times for music, I think.
I think so,
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like these guys are a breed, or us, a kind of new breed of musician that's really gone deep, in a young age, had gone deep into like Western trained, maybe jazz, blues. Brandon has a blues background and guitar. And then pretty early on got interested in some specific world music
Mm-hmm.
or in Eastern music, and then got serious about it and studied and traveled there and studied. Instead of just like flirting with the sound of the instrument like a lot
Right.
of people did for years, there's a lot of people who were getting more deep into these traditions, and then with that knowledge doing something I think deeper with the fusion of Western and
Right. Yeah.
whatever ethnic music they're coming from. So I'm like a little bit older than these guys. When I was first getting into this, we were just doing it all on our. We were teaching ourselves off of records and cassette tapes, and we weren't finding that many people who really knew the stuff. Occasionally, traveling musicians you would hook up with, but like it's more accepted in schools. Jamie Haddad teaching this technique at Berkeley, and so it's more accepted now, which is interesting, exciting time.
Well, I think.
I gotta say, I'm 31, and even when I was in college, I had to go down to the media center in college, and take out the videos of whoever, Trichy Sankaran, great Indian drummer, and to see him. And there was no YouTube before 2006. A lot of people don't even realize that now, but kids these days that are growing up, and I mean, you have a little kid, they can check out the hippest music coming out of Mali now, and like just the best of the best.
Yeah,
There's
forward like crazy.
It's going. I mean, even when we were growing up, we didn't have the access that is available now to kids at a really young age that are learning instruments. So it's gonna. I mean, now it's extremely exciting to see what's happening.
Well, I also think it's the logical progression, actually, because if you start by listening to Hendrix, which of course a lot of us do, and that group of musicians, and you take Jimmy, and then you go back to Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, and then you go back to the Delta Blues, then you actually realize that the West and North African tradition is been so absorbed here in North America. So I think it's only logical that if you have a spiritual affinity for the blues, that when you hear the Arabic and the African stuff, it's going to resonate with you,
Yeah, well put. Yeah, I mean that's really deep. Like a lot of people start with, say, like some rock group, Van Halen, and then they find out, wait, there's something called Led Zeppelin, and then wait, there's something called Muddy Waters. Wait,
exactly.
And you're saying, actually, you can go all the way back and say, wait, there's these people called griots,
that's one of the things that they don't teach us in our school system, actually, is when they talk about bringing the West Africans over here and enslaving them. They pretend like there was no culture there. Like it was just non-entities. When the reality is that culture is never lost its foothold, and it's it really flourished over here.
It might be the best thing that America has to offer.
Exactly. No, absolutely. Yeah. And I would have to agree with that, actually.
Well, speaking of what we're talking about, you have a track called Xalam, Slight Return.
Yeah.
Should we check that one out?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, let's check that out, and then you guys can grab some coffee or something. We'll bring Nagar in to talk and play a little bit, and then we'll have one more live set. So, sounds good?
Sure.
All right.
Great.
So here we go. This is Xalam, Slight Return. Many thanks to our guests, Matt Kilmer, Matt Dario, and Chris Mees on bass.
And sweet baby Luke Notary.
Yeah, of course. Okay, and we'll be back with Nagar Buban. Here is